der
The next item on the
Tagesordnung
agenda
folgt die Erklärung der
is the
Vizepräsidentin
statement by the Vice President
der Kommission
of the Commission,
bzw. der Hohen Vertreterin der Union für
High
Außen- und
Representative of the Union
Sicherheitspolitik betreffend den
for Foreign Affairs and
systematischen Massenmord
Security
an
Policy
religiösen
on
Minderheiten
the
durch den
systematic mass
IS.
murder of religious minorities by ISIS.
Frau Mogherini ist noch nicht
Mrs.
eingetroffen.
Mogherini is not yet here.
Deshalb frage ich, ob Einwände dagegen... Okay. Jetzt kommt sie.
Here she is.
Guten Abend, Frau Mogherini.
Good evening, Ms. Mogherini.
If you want, you can start off.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I apologize, but I was dealing partially with what was discussed before Moldova. Let me first of all say that this debate is touching on something that is particularly relevant and very much linked to other debates we held yesterday night, the situation in the Middle East and sectarianism. That is one of the diseases of our age. For centuries, countless faiths and ethnicities have lived together in the Middle East, more than in any other parts of the world. And of course, sectarian conflicts have always existed, but the diversity of the Middle East has never been as vulnerable as it is today. For too long, too many actors have fostered sectarian divisions in a struggle for regional power, and this is what we are seeing also now. Today we see the devastating effects of such behavior. Daesh has turned sectarian strife into a core theme of its propaganda and of its actions. They have used it as a tool for recruitment and as an excuse for claiming oil-rich lands. Not much about religion, a lot about power. Before I get into more details on how to tackle the mass murder of minorities, let me be clear on one important thing. Daesh is not just a threat to minorities. A few days ago, we learned that Daesh has allegedly killed more than 100 people and kidnapped hundreds in the Syrian city of Deir ez-Zor. According to the first reports, all of them were Sunni Muslims. If you look at the numbers of victims in the current conflicts, the vast majority of them are Muslims. This is true in Syria and Iraq, as well as in Nigeria or in Pakistan. And also in Europe, we have Muslim victims of terrorist attacks. All faiths, all peoples are at the same time victims and united in the fight against terror. This is, I think, the first duty we have, to send this signal, to send this message. We are all in this, we are all united in this. Still, we cannot ignore that the plight of individuals belonging to religious minorities, including Christians, in Daesh-controlled areas of Syria and Iraq, is dramatic. Christian communities, Kurdish cities, the enslavement of Yazidi women, Shabaks, Druze, Assyrians, we can forget none of them. And in front of terrible atrocities, we need more than condemnation. I imagine you can imagine my frustration every time that we come out with a statement condemning. We have to do that, because that is a sign of constant attention that these communities need. But on the other side, we all know very well that condemning is not enough. We need concrete support to these people. So let me focus on actions we have taken in defense of minorities in the Middle East. First, the financial support. We are providing very concrete financial support. The European Union and the Member States are the leading donors for Syria, with over 5 billion euros in assistance. We have been amongst the first to provide assistance to the Yazidis and Christians in Iraq. I have visited some of them exactly last year at Christmas, and to the Kurds in Kobane. The EU also remains the second largest donor to Iraq. Our funds are helping to bring life back to the regions liberated from Daesh, and we all know how this is central for making it possible for the pluralism of this society to survive. When we say that we must help minorities stay in their land, in the land where they have lived for centuries, that is exactly what we mean. The European Instrument for Democracy and Human Rights supports civil society projects promoting freedom of religion or belief. This goes together with implementing legislation that safeguards the rights of persons belonging to minorities in both Syria and Iraq. And as the war still goes on, it can be difficult to look at the future and work on a post-war Middle East. I know that very well. But still, we need to always keep in mind that our long-term goal is that of a peaceful and inclusive democracy. And we need to start investing in a peaceful future today if we want tomorrow to be a better one. But let me be completely sincere on this. The resources we have invested, although very important ones, are far insufficient. The humanitarian response plans for Syria and Iraq were underfunded in 2015. This needs to change under the new humanitarian response plans for 2016. And we have worked on this. The European Union continues to contribute to humanitarian aid, and let me say I count very much on this Parliament's support for our action to be strengthened this year. It will be important to commit to a strong pledge at the upcoming London Conference of Donors for Syria that will be co-hosted by the UK, Germany, Norway, Kuwait and the United Nations on the 4th of February this year. But apart from the financial support, we have other fields of action. The second one is guaranteeing that justice will be done, accountability. This is a crucial step towards peace and national reconciliation. This is why the European Union supports the Independent International Commission of Inquiry on Syria, which collects evidence on the violations committed in view of future legal action. The EU also provides political and financial support to efforts from civil society to promote accountability in Syria. Our European Union has called for the UN Security Council to refer the situation in Syria to the International Criminal Court. And for Iraq, we are aware that minority groups, in particular the Yazidis, have demanded that the crimes committed against them by Daesh are considered genocide. Third field of action, we are seeking the broadest engagement of relevant regional actors and of international organizations. This is because we believe that this is for sure a task for the European Union, but not for the European Union alone to protect minorities in the Middle East. Since the beginning of the crisis, we have sought to involve our Muslim partners, first and foremost, on the solution of it. We are part of the global coalition countering Daesh and contribute to its objectives with non-military means, as you know. Let me also stress that our condemnations of the crimes of Daesh will never be as powerful as those of a Muslim religious authority. They are our best allies in this fight. We have in particular cooperated with the Organization of the Islamic Cooperation, an engagement which led us to the consensual adoption of a UN resolution on fighting religious intolerance. And I have in particular in the last months upgraded our cooperation with the Organization of the Islamic Cooperation. The EU also supports the proposal by France and the Accountability, Coherence and Transparency Group that the Security Council develops a code of conduct whereby permanent members agree to refrain from using their veto with respect to those mass atrocities which, with the responsibility to protect, seeks to prevent. We are happy to see that this proposal is gradually gaining more support within the larger UN membership. Fourth field of action, maybe the most urgent one. We are on the front line of all diplomatic efforts to find a political solution to the war in Syria and join forces against Daesh. And also, let me add, supporting the work of the Iraqi authorities towards national inclusion and reconciliation. We are finally getting in Syria to a stage where the Syrian parties can finally, hopefully, sit together and try to find their own way out of the war. After 5 years of bloodshed, reconciliation And peace will not be easy, for sure, but it's possible. And more than possible, necessary. There is no other way to preserve the incredible diversity of the Middle East. Building up strong and inclusive societies, strong and inclusive democracies, where all people have a say, where all rights are guaranteed, where living together is possible and it's safe and good for all. Despite the hardships, minorities in the Middle East have not lost hope. Just 1 month ago, the Catholic community in Aleppo celebrated the beginning of the Catholic Jubilee of Mercy. They did so by opening a holy door in the local church of St. Francis. Life goes on, faith goes on, and it is a powerful symbol of forgiveness, of faith and confidence in a better future. In a recent interview, the Catholic Bishop of Aleppo quoted an Islamic proverb which goes this way: Allah provides even for a black ant on a black rock crawling in a dark night. And he continued, we are not alone, and the bells of our churches will keep tolling. These people have not lost hope. Personally, I am not a believer, but I am a strong believer in the rights of all to live in peace and respect. And I am a strong believer in the value of diversity, in the richness of different communities sharing their identities somehow, their stories, their wisdom, their past and their future, their hopes and aspirations, their lives. That is the strength of open societies, the capacity to live together. And this has been and is the strength of the European Union and of the Middle East. We cannot let them down. And the only way to do so is to obstinately push for a political solution to the current crisis. We have discussed about that yesterday night in this room. To reject all sectarianism, to keep working for a regional settlement of all disputes, and for national reconciliation. Our friends in the Middle East have not lost hope. If we care about them, we have to keep working for peace, and let us not lose hope either. Thank you very much.
Vielen Dank, Frau Kommissarin
Thank you very much,
Mogherini. Wir
Commissioner
kommen nun
Mogherini.
zur Aussprache.
We now come to the debate.
Und ich will darauf hinweisen, dass wir sehr eng in der
Point out
Zeit sind.
that
Und
we're very pressed for time.
meine Vorgängerin der Sitzungsleitung, Frau Kollegin Gall-Pelz, hat entschieden,
Mrs.
keine blauen Karten
Gall-Pelz decided
zuzulassen.
not to allow
Ich
any
halte
blue
diese Entscheidung
cards.
aufrecht. Es
And I will
beginnt Herr
continue
Kollege
with that.
Adaktus.